Hello everyone, it's about time now. Let's begin today's webinar. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us in today's webinar. This is the first webinar of this year. I hope you'll extract as much information as you can. So this is the agenda slide, and let me begin with my introduction. I'm Vaishnavi Thakur, a master's student in the Department of Electrical Engineering and Information Systems at the University of Tokyo. I'm the facilitator for today's webinar, and I'm joined by Ms. Khushi, a student at the Keio University, as a sub-facilitator. So today's webinar is about studying and working in Japan. It aims to promote education in Japan by motivating students to pursue higher studies. The University of Tokyo India office is organizing these sessions where experts from different universities across Japan will be providing information and guidance on various programs which are being offered in the universities. So Japan has the third largest economy in the world with a huge demand for the skilled professionals, and not forgetting the fact that it has the highest employment rate among the other G7 nations. But still we see that many students choose Western countries for their higher education. It is mainly because of the lack of awareness of the wonderful opportunities here. So these webinars aim to bridge that gap and provide you all the information about the admission process in the universities. So in between the webinar, if you have any queries, please post them in the Q&A portal, and we have a team of panelists and the universities to answer them. So this is the agenda slide for today. And let's begin with, firstly, we'll have a brief overview of the sessions by Ms. Sakshi, who is an assistant manager at the University of Tokyo India office. And then we'll have presentations by representatives of various universities. And the total time of each presentation is about 20 minutes, and which is followed by a Q&A session of 5 minutes. So before proceeding with the webinar, I request all panelists who are not attending to turn off your audio and video. Now I request Ms. Sakshi from the University of Tokyo India office to commence the webinar.
Thank you, Ms. Vaishnavi, for the introduction. So namaste, everyone, and again, welcome to this webinar. My name is Sakshi Roy, and I hope all of you are doing great today. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar and taking out time from your busy schedule to attend this webinar. It's a pleasure to have you all with us. So as for the introduction, please note that this program is hosted by the University of Tokyo India office and brought to you by MEX, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan. And our office, the University of Tokyo India office, is a part of Study in Japan Global Network Project in Southwest Asia by MEX. And we provide comprehensive information on Japanese universities. And we also organize education fairs and seminars throughout India. So today we are going to have our 17th webinar of Study and Work in Japan webinar series 2023. And these webinars are basically designed to introduce you to some of the best Japanese universities. In this, we'll be discussing the various program offerings and opportunities to study and work in Japan in an online session. So there will be 3 to 4 different Japanese universities representing in each session, national, public, and private universities. And all the universities are basically focusing to introduce English-based programs that are offered by them. I must tell you that in Japan, there has been approximately 700 plus universities as well as specialized vocational institutions. So if you're interested to study in world third largest economy, you have so many options to choose from world-class universities, and the academic options for international students are nearly boundless in Japan. And after graduating from the Japanese universities, you'll be truly valuable in the job market, not only in Japan, but in other countries as well. So I recommend you all to please listen to each and every presentation very carefully. And I request you to please note down the contact addresses of respective universities. And then you can, directly contact them in case if you have any questions. So thank you very much for listening to me. Please enjoy today's session, and please don't forget to register and join us for our next session on 28 January. Thank you very much. I ensure this webinar will be profitable, and the next few hours will be enjoyable and fruitful to every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sakshi, for your valuable words and giving an overview of the webinar. So now let's move on with the university presentations. Let me share the agenda slide. So first, in the university presentations, we have Toyo University. So Toyo University is developing global education under the banner of Toyo Global Diamonds to become an Asian hub for the global leaders. So from this prestigious university, we have a special lecture by Professor Aki Onehara from the Department of Sociology. She is also a visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, in the Department of Humanities and Sociology. So without any further delay, I request Professor Aki to take over.
Okay, let me share my screen first. Let's see. Okay, I hope my screen is visible for everybody. Is it?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, thank you. So namaste, मेरा नाम अकी ओनेहारा है, मैं टोयो यूनिवर्सिटी और IIT का प्रोफेसर है। आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. And thank you very much for this opportunity today to talk my topic about measurability or evaluability, the sociological visit of SDG evaluation. And I understand not everybody here are really interested in SDG evaluation or sociology or policy science. But through my short lecture, I hope I could convey some attractiveness of social sciences to you. Let me start. All right. SDG evaluation. I think almost everybody here have ever seen this colorful icon here and there, maybe on TV, maybe in the newspaper, or maybe even on the street. Have you ever seen this before? And then have you ever studied or learned about SDG somewhere, maybe at school, at university lecture, or any other seminar opportunity? Could you click the raising hands button if you have ever had a chance to study or learn about SDGs? Okay. I saw only one hand, so maybe this is a kind of a new topic. No, not one hand, actually, for 8, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So maybe, although maybe almost of you know this colorful icon, but maybe not many chance to learn about it. Actually, SDG was adopted at the United Nations in 2015, and this is like 15 years global campaign that will be finished in the 2030. And as you see here, there are sets of goals, like 17 goals, and under those 17 goals, there are nearly 170 targets and over 230 evaluation indicators are defined. And then both India and Japanese governments are partner country. So we are sort of like trying to achieve those goals before 2030. And now we can see SDG everywhere, literally. As you know, the many private companies using SDGs for their production or even for their advertisement. And then also you will see the Indian government and Japanese government using the SDG as a keyword in international policy many times. So then, is SDG just a practical agenda or even a buzzword these days? Or can we say SDG is a kind of a challenge to the value system in the global era? When I wrote my dissertation, like 20 years ago, maybe more than 20 years ago, since then, I have been keeping one fundamental question as a social scientist in my mind. That is, how can public policy contribute to human well-being in the global era? And in the light of this question, I think the SDG pointed out the limitation of the efficiency-based value system. which was mostly developed in the last century. In the 20th century, particularly after the World War II, our global society tried to develop the nations through the economic development. But over-exceeded economic development actually damaged the natural environment. And also more and more economists revealed that economic development is not always have the positive correlation with the happiness, human happiness. Have you ever heard the expression happiness paradox? Some economical research found that the higher developed society has a higher ratio of suicide or mental disease. So in this sense, maybe SDG question the conventional value system. So actually, this is the background of my research interest. Okay, and based on this, my research question, why am I interested in evaluation studies? Evaluation, to me, is a sociological perspective to visualize the values. The term of evaluation originally in Latin means extract value. According to the Michael Scriven, he is the father of evaluation philosophy. Evaluation is a process of determining the merit, worth, and significance of the things. He also said evaluation is a social betterment itself. So what does determination of merit, worth, significance means? So let's think about the case of a cup of green tea. I don't know, but have you ever tried green tea before? Actually, that's my favorite. It's a very thick and very bitter tea, which goes well with Japanese traditional sweets. So if you have any chance to try Japanese tea ceremony, I strongly recommend you to try. And how do you answer if somebody asks you, do evaluate the cup of green tea? What is the value of a cup of green tea? Following Scriven's definition, a cup of green tea has first internal value. Internal value is, for example, the taste. If it's yummy or not, do you like it or not? And also the cup of green tea have the external value as well. External value is measured by the external measurement, like the price. If a cup of green tea costs, say, 500 rupees, is it expensive or reasonable? That's also the question of evaluation. And not only the merit and worth, the cup of green tea also has a societal value. A cup of green tea is not just simply a tea, but also that brings to you a Japanese cultural tradition. So if we think about the meaning of evaluation like this, we could say that evaluation can be a perspective to determine the social values. So based on this definition of evaluation, let's get back to the question of SDG evaluation. As an evaluation researcher, I have many chances to work for the SDG project or policy analysis. And when I'm working for the SDG related project in government, with governmental people or non-governmental people, or sometimes international organization, I often heard many people say SDG evaluation is much more difficult than the conventional global goals. Why so? Let's look at a couple of examples from the SDG 17 goals. If we look at the goal 5, which is about gender equality, there are sets of targets, and one of the targets is like this: ensure women's full and effective participation in equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision-making in political, economic, and public life. And then this target has a set of indicators, and one of them is the proportion of women in the managerial positions. Actually, this evaluation indicator is very difficult to evaluate. let's think about the case of, say, school enrollment ratio. Imagine what is the best condition of school enrollment ratio? Did you have an answer in your mind? I guess most of you imagine, of course, it's 100%, right? Yes, 100% may be the ideal goal of school enrollment ratio. So how about the child mortality ratio? That's also a very popular evaluation indicator for the primary health. What's the ideal goal of child mortality ratio? I think almost you imagine the 0%. Of course, this is a mortality ratio. So it is relatively easy for us to get the agreement of ideal condition in school enrollment ratio or child mortality ratio case. So how about proportion of women in the manager position? What is the ideal goal? Is it 100%? Maybe simply 50%? Or probably 60%? Or maybe 30%? So clearly, it is very difficult to get agreement of the ideal condition of this proportion. Why so? This is because this evaluation indicator is deeply related to the issue of contextual value. The ideal proportion of a woman in the manager position is depending on the type of organization or maybe the type of the society that woman is working for. So it's not easy to define in one single way. And the same kind of difficulty can be observed in Goal 16 as well. Goal 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And then under this goal, there is a target significantly reduce all forms of violence in related death rates everywhere. Definitely, it's a very important target. And one of the indicators of this target is proportion of population that feels safe walking around the area they live. I think now you can guess why this is difficult to evaluate. Because feeling safe is very subjective and it's not easy for us to get agreement. What does it mean? It depending on the social context, it depending on the person's gender, maybe it depending on the person's age or nationality or whatever. So that it's not easy to evaluate in one single manual way. So as we see here, SDG evaluation includes not only external value, but also internal and societal value in many sense. So that is why SDG evaluation seems to be very difficult. So what is the substantive difference between SDG evaluation and pre-SDG, or I would say the conventional global goal evaluation? In the conventional global goals, like pre-SDG era, these goals are generally practical and realistic. Like in the 1990s, universal primary education or poverty reduction became a very popular global goals. And they have evaluation indicators such as school enrollment ratio or GNP, GDP, GNI, such kind of economic indicators. They are relatively easy to measure because they can, defined in a single way, so that the question of those evaluation is very technical. And how to measure it? The question is a measurability question. And on the other hand, SDG evaluation includes a lot of conceptual and ideal goals, just like we saw in the previous slides. So there are like quality education, quality of life, decent work, those internal societal values are related in those, with those goals. So it's not easy for us to directly discuss about measurability, how to measure. before discussing about the measurability, we really have to discuss about the evaluability questions, such as how to evaluate those values and what is the values we really want to realize or protect. So SDG evaluation requires us to reconsider the value issues according to the contextual dynamics. So in this sense, SDG evaluation is actually a challenge of a value system itself. Well, actually, this is the framework and my fundamental starting point of the research to me. And then maybe the next question is, from this starting point, what kind of research am I actually doing as a social scientist? And what kind of research is possible in the social science field? I hope I can successfully invite you to the social science field, but let me try. Based on my fundamental research question, maybe for my lifetime research question, how can public policy contribute to human well-being in a global era? I am taking very interdisciplinary approach. I'm using sociology, policy science, and evaluation studies and education. And for the maybe last 10 years, I'm working for the SDG evaluation issue, and also ESD means Education for Sustainable Development. These are my research topic. And I am conducting action research on ESD at Japanese primary school. And also I am conducting evaluation study for the teacher exchange program between India and Japan. This is the project of the UNESCO's project. And I am actually sometimes working as a JICA's evaluation expert and working for some JICA's project. For example, the community development project in Thailand, disaster prevention education in Turkey. And then also I worked for the primary education teacher training program in the Senegal. And not only the international case, but also I am doing my research about the SDG policy analysis for local governments in Japan as well. And today I do not have enough time to go for details of my research, but at least let me share with you a small piece of the whole picture. This is the photos from that JICA's project in Thailand. It's community development project. And those photos are from action research in Japanese primary school, the ESD project. And through those research, I'm trying to answer this question. So what is the value they really want to realize or they want to protect? And when we're conducting this kind of research, we social scientists often use a qualitative research, like doing the field work, field survey, and then sometimes conducting an interview. And then, the data collected through the interview is often analyzed through the text mining and so on. There are a bunch of different kind of methodology for the qualitative analysis. And those are the things that you could run in the university. And not only the qualitative study, I am sometimes doing the quantitative research as well. Actually, I myself is a quantitative researcher and I'm teaching statistics at my university. And then this is the research I recently working for to identify the significant factor for teachers to conduct ESD at their teaching practice. And in this research, in my research group, we collected the data from students, like over 2,000 students, and also collected the data from nearly 400 teachers. And after collecting this data, we analyzed it statistically. Like in this case, I applied a statistical method, so-called hierarchical linear modeling. Then try to identify what is actually the significant factor for school teachers to conduct ESD in their teaching practice. So this kind of findings will hopefully contributing to their policy recommendation. And again, in this quantitative research, there are so many methodology for the data collection, data analysis available. They are very interesting and exciting, which you may learn at university. So through this research, I am trying to answer my fundamental research question. How can public policy contribute to the well-being in the global age? The question is very big and complicated, and so far I didn't find the right, the straight answer for that. And I'm not sure if I can find the answer before I die, but I'm trying. Social science is a very powerful tool to answer or deal with this kind of question. Okay, before closing my talk, let me share my thoughts on the studying humanities and social science, in short HSS, abroad. What is the merit of studying HSS? It will bring you the broader fields of study. There are very various disciplines available in the field of HSS. Not only like education, policy, science, evaluation study, sociology, but also you can learn about law, economics, business, philosophy, literature, language, linguistics, and so on. And then those disciplines has various different kinds of approach. Some approaches are very deeply theoretical, some are more applied. Like my study is more closer to the applied science. And also HSS will let you learn more various kinds of methodology. Like I introduced to you just a little bit briefly, there are a bunch of qualitative analysis methods or quantitative methods. And then even today, the mixed method is becoming more popular. That's very much interesting and exciting field. And what is the advantage of studying HSS abroad, not domestic? Studying abroad brings you, actually, I myself was an international student, maybe more than 20 years ago. Studying abroad will provide you a relative perspective. If you study outside of your home country, almost automatically, you have to be a relative thinker. And studying HSS field abroad will help you to develop your relative perspective into multidimensional perspective. And also, this experience studying abroad will make you a humble thinker. And then being a humble thinker is a very important foundation to be a critical thinker. Once you study abroad, outside of your home country, you will be surrounded a lot of unknowns. You don't know this, you don't know this, you don't know that. Then this unknown, the bounce of question will make you, make you ask why to everything around you. This lots of why questions will make you, train you as a critical thinker. And also at the same time, you will have more chance for the mutual learning. So, I would promise you that studying abroad, particularly studying HSS field in abroad, will develop this kind of perspective and attitude. The last point, the third point, is maybe my hope. Have you ever heard the name of Professor Acharya? He is Indian professor in the field of international relations, and he wrote a book entitled The End of American World Order. I'm not sure if the American order is going to be end or not, but it's not the point. In his book, he discussed that the world is going to be more multiplex rather than one single hegemony. And then I somehow agree with his discussion. And then I hope maybe it's very cool and exciting if my Japanese students are studying and working together with an Indian student, and then you guys, new generations, is going to create new values for the next multiplex world. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and my best luck for your future study. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing your expertise on the Sustainable Development Goals. So your dedication to the subject is truly inspiring. We appreciate the time and effort you put into preparing the lecture. And let's move on to the next university. Let me share the agenda slide. Professor, can you please stop sharing? Yes, thank you. So in the next university, we have Tokyo International University. So Tokyo International University has been consistently stayed true to its educational policy of nurturing truly international-minded people. It is constantly expanding its practice-oriented international education, and the university boasts a highly international learning environment with around 6,500 plus students and with about 1,300 international students and from 68 countries around the world. So unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances, we are not able to have a live presentation from Tokyo International University, but there is a recorded video from the professor who was about to give us a presentation today. So I hope you enjoy the video.
Hello, my name is Darren, the Senior Admissions Officer at the Tokyo International University's English Track Admissions Center, and I'm happy to talk to you about the English Medium Bachelor's Degree programs that we offer at our university. So please allow me to share my screen, and you should be able to see it now. Okay, so this is our campus, and as you can see at the bottom of this screen, we have 3 majors that we offer for bachelor's degree programs: business economics, digital business and innovation, and international relations. And I'll talk about each one of those in a little bit more detail as we proceed through the presentation. And so I just want to note that we do have master's and PhD programs at our university. However, for this presentation, we're going to be focusing on our bachelor's degree programs. If you have any questions about our master's or PhD programs, please do send us an email or check out our website for more information. Okay, so TIU was founded in 1965, and our mission has been to nurture truly international-minded leaders who will contribute to global society through vision, courage, and intelligence. Now, in the spirit of this mission, we created the E-Track program in 2014-2015. And at the time, we had a modest number of international students, just a little under 50, less than 50. But within less than a decade, we really expanded drastically, both in size and scope. Now we have over 1,400 international students at TIU, representing 75 countries. And this is just the English track program. If you were to include the international students in our Japanese medium bachelor's programs, you would see over 100 nationalities represented. We also have a very diverse international faculty in the E-Track program, with 75% of our professors coming from outside of Japan. Now, this international environment has been recognized by Times Higher Education. We rank 4th most international university in the Tokyo metro area. And also, this international environment will be key to your learning experience. Of course, you're going to learn a great deal in the classroom, but you'll also be gaining valuable experience and valuable life lessons by interacting with friends and classmates and professors who have different backgrounds and different ideas about how the world works. So this is a great environment for you to launch your global career and to begin to develop as a global citizen. So we are located in the Greater Tokyo area, or the Tokyo metro area. Our main campus, Campus 1, is located just outside of central Tokyo in a city called Kawagoe. But because Tokyo's train system is so advanced, it is really, really easy to commute between our Kawagoe campus and central Tokyo. The trains are very quick, they're very efficient, they're very clean and safe, and almost always on time. So you will be able to experience central Tokyo very easily. But also later in fall 2023, we are going to open a brand new campus in central Tokyo, in a location called Ikebukuro, which is one of the major commercial hubs of central Tokyo. So 2023 is going to be a very exciting year for TIU students with the opening of our new campus. And because Tokyo is the capital of the third largest economy in the world, it is an ideal location for you to take classes in business and technology and international relations, which are the kinds of classes that we offer in the E-Track program. So some reasons to choose Tokyo for your study destination. Well, among the major global cities, Tokyo is ranked 7th best city overall for international students. And this comes from the QS Best Student Cities ranking for 2023. In the subcategory of employer activity, Tokyo ranks #1. So if career opportunity is important to you in your decision about where to go for your degree, then you can be very happy to know that there are a lot of opportunities in Tokyo, not only for internships and part-time jobs while you are a student, but for really meaningful jobs and careers after you graduate. And also Tokyo is just incredibly fun and amazing to explore. This city is well known for its ability to mix the old and the new, the traditional and the modern. So exploring Tokyo and the surrounding areas will be an important part of your student life. So for example, on a given Saturday or a Sunday or a holiday, you and your friends can get on the train and visit a very traditional area in Tokyo called Asakusa, which is on the left. And this is the home of the oldest Buddhist temple in the city. And you can explore Tokyo's history here. And then after you enjoy that area, you can get back on the train. And a very short distance away is Akihabara, another part of central Tokyo, which is known as sort of like the heartland of all things manga, anime, and Japanese popular culture. So within one day, you can experience these two very different aspects of Japanese life and tradition. And these are just two examples of the many, many great and exciting places you can experience in Tokyo. Now I'd like to move on to our academic offerings. So as I mentioned before, we offer 3 bachelor's programs. Our majors are business economics, digital business and innovation, and international relations. These are 4-year degree programs taught entirely in English. So business economics offers courses in subjects like management, marketing, economics, finance, and entrepreneurship. And the program is designed to help you succeed in the international business world. And digital business and innovation is like a combination of an IT and a business degree. So you will be able to take courses in programming, and you will be able to take courses on new technology like artificial intelligence and deep learning, digital marketing, and so forth, but with a very strong focus on business application. So it's not your typical computer science degree, but rather it is a very forward-thinking degree that combines the best of IT and business. And last but not least is the international relations degree, which offers courses on global governance, international politics, security issues, culture and society, and so forth. And through these courses, you gain a deeper understanding of how nations relate to each other, how organizations like the United Nations works, and what are possible causes and solutions to various global issues like conflict and climate change and poverty and so forth. And through these courses, you gain career critical skills in leadership, research, and communication, which are important in any field that you choose to go into. We also offer Japanese language courses. Because eTrack is an English medium program, you don't need to know any Japanese language to apply or enroll. You can start as an absolute beginner and take language courses that we offer, which range from beginning level all the way to advanced Japanese. And if you would like to work in Japan, we definitely encourage you to take our Japanese language courses, because if you know English and your native tongue and also Japanese, then you become a very, very competitive person on the job market. And this graphic shows you that if you were to take our Japanese courses all the way from beginner to advanced every semester, by the time you graduate, you should be able to communicate very effectively in Japanese and possibly even go for the JLPT level N1 certification. It is also possible to greatly customize your education by taking courses in other majors as electives. So for example, if you are majoring in business economics and your dream is to distribute Japanese manga and anime in your home country, then you should probably take the Japanese popular culture course, which is offered in the international relations major. So this is just one of very many possibilities that you can customize your education to fit your professional goals and interests. We also have many exchange and study abroad programs around the globe, over 330 destinations in places like the United States, Canada, the UK, various countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, South America, and so forth. So if you would like to have an additional international experience as a TIU student, that's definitely possible. We have a world-class faculty. As I mentioned before, 75% of our faculty come from outside of Japan, and they come with credentials from some of the top institutions in the world. So for example, we have professors coming from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, University of Sheffield. Professor Kulkarni here, he comes from the Indian Institute of Technology, Singapore Management University. And just a few more examples, we have more professors from University of Glasgow, UC Berkeley, University of Arizona and King's College London, National University of Singapore and University of Delhi, and so on and so forth. So we have an incredible faculty, and our professors are experts in their fields, but they're also very friendly and supportive and down to earth, and they're very, very passionate about helping students succeed in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom and beyond. So if you would like to see a full list of our faculty, please check out our website. You can see the link below on this slide. We also value student life and support. We know that transitioning to university is very exciting, but also comes with a lot of questions, right? And some concerns. And so we try to make that transition as easy as possible by providing support through our International Exchange Office. We have a peer assistant network, which is senior students helping new students. We offer airport pickup. We have a 24-hour over-the-phone emergency assistance system. We provide housing information and other things and other types of information that you need to have a safe and comfortable life in Japan. We have amazing facilities. So these facilities are on our Kawagoe campus. We have the English Plaza, which is a bright, spacious, fun area for Japanese students and international students to communicate and build relationships in English. And also we have the Japanese Plaza, which is a great area for international students to come and practice their Japanese and get tutoring services. We also have various cafeterias on campus. One cafeteria has a halal and vegetarian menu. So if you have a halal or a vegetarian diet, rest assured that there are plenty of options on campus and also around campus, because there's a strong Indian community in Tokyo and around campus. Okay, we also have various clubs and circles. So if you are interested in sports or the arts or dance or technology, then you should look into one of our student clubs. It's a great way for you to pursue your hobby, but also to make friends with other international students and with local Japanese university students who are attending TIU courses. Just to highlight a few of our student clubs, we have the Model United Nations Club. This club was founded by eTrack students, and over the past years, our students have gone on to win various awards. Our MUN club has hosted and attended conferences in Japan and abroad. And it is open to students of all nationalities and all majors. We also have a TEDx TIU club, a Holt Prize club. And if you're not familiar with Holt Prize, it's a very well-known global business competition. And so we have a club that participates and wins in this competition. We do have housing on campus. Our international dormitories are available to you. So if you would like to live in our dorm for the first year, that is definitely an option. But we also have an English-speaking housing partner that can help you find an apartment. Many of our students live in apartments and are very comfortable in their apartments. So there are multiple housing options, and our international exchange office can help you with your housing. So please don't worry about that. We have a dedicated career center, which exists to help you become as competitive as possible in the job market, especially if you want to find a job in Japan. Through the Career Center, you can apply for internships at various companies in and around Tokyo. We have one-on-one counseling and career events and other services. And thanks to the services at the Career Center, but also the hard work of our students, in 2021 and 2022, we achieved a 97.6% job offer rate. So out of all the international students who sought help from the Career Center, almost 100% got a job offer for working after graduation. We also have career practicum courses, and these are courses that we offer in collaboration with companies. And every semester we collaborate with a different company to provide students with a variety of experiences. So in fall 2022, we had a practicum course with a leading Japanese technology company called Ricoh Company. And the theme of this course was to use the company's tech innovation to address social problems through business. And we had multiple student groups. They all had great ideas, but one group I'd like to highlight is Group 4, who focused on using the company's technology to promote business and human resource development in India. So that was very exciting to learn about. Okay, we also have a partnership with Tech Mahindra, which is a leading IT firm based in India with operations around the globe. We have had a practicum with them, and we continue to have a partnership, and we do joint research and other projects with them. And in addition to in-class activities and in-class learning, our teachers also look for opportunities to take students on meaningful field trips. So for example, in 2021, Professor Shin took her students to the India Embassy in Tokyo. And just last month, December 2022, Professor Lamont took his students to the delegation of the EU to Japan. So you can see photos of those activities here. It is also possible to work part-time. So international students can work part-time to gain job experience and to, of course, earn some extra income. So this is an option that many eTrack students go for. The type of job that you can get depends on your Japanese level, but it is possible to get a good part-time job, even if you don't speak any Japanese. So as you can see here, there are multiple career paths. Each major is designed to give you specific skills, but also general skills that you can apply to any sort of career field that you want. And so these examples are based on actual testimonials from our alumni. And you can see that there's a range of careers that you can pursue, including IT-related careers, but also business, marketing, sales, banking, social media analytics, data analytics, and so forth. We do have students who also go to graduate school for master's degrees and further graduate study. We have students who have gotten graduate program offers from top universities such as Columbia University, University of Cambridge, and other top schools in North America, Europe, Asia, and around the world. Okay, so we do offer a tuition reduction scholarship. This scholarship can reduce your tuition by 30, 50, 80, or even 100%. So please do apply for this scholarship if you are interested. We also have a Model United Nations scholarship, and other third-party scholarships are available for you to apply to, including the JASO scholarship. Okay, so to be eligible to enroll, you need to have a satisfactory educational background, and you need to have the minimum English proficiency requirement. This information is listed in our application guidelines. And the schedule for applying is as follows. So we have an April intake and we have a fall intake. So for April 2023, the application periods are closed. So your next opportunity to apply is now for September 2023. So if you already have your final CBSE or local curriculum grades, you can follow this schedule, which is listed in our application guidelines. If you have international A-level or IB curriculum, you can also follow this schedule, regardless of whether you have final grades or predicted grades. If you're applying with predicted CBSE, ISCE, or higher secondary board grades, again, this is for predicted scores, then you have to follow this special schedule for September 2023 intake. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. This is our website, and also below that we have an Indian representative. You can contact our representative at india@tiu.ac.jp. Our representative can answer any questions you have about how to apply, the requirements, life at TIU, academics, and so forth. And you can also contact us here in Tokyo at etrack-admissions@tiu.ac.jp. Thank you very much for your time.
That was a very comprehensive way to about the admission process of the eTrack program. So let's look at a few questions in the Q&A portal. There's only one question, which says, can I apply for this program even though I have chosen math and science subjects in high school? So from the admission guidelines, it is clear that yes, we can apply for this with the math and science subjects. So yes, that's all from the Tokyo International University. Now let's proceed with the next university. Let me share the agenda slide. So as a third university, we have Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. As a leading institution in the education and research of languages, culture, and societies of the world, the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies takes a serious interest in safeguarding and enhancing the richness and potential of human diversity. So they have an international collaboration with 71 countries in the world, and TUFS has been conducting research on these 4 parameters to a wide extent. So to provide more details about the admission process, I invite Ms. Ishida from the Global Admissions Office to provide us more details about the university.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. And I would first like to thank the University of Tokyo for arranging this and giving us the opportunity to share the information about our program. So let me first share my screen. Okay. I hope you can see the screen now. So this is Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Your first step to explore the world starts here. Today, I will mainly go over 2 graduate programs that are offered in English. But before I go into the details of each program, let me first briefly go over our university. Tokyo University of Foreign Studies is located in Tokyo, the capital of Japan. about 30 minutes of a train ride from downtown Tokyo in a very quiet residential area. As a university specializes in foreign studies, meaning language studies and international studies, the number of languages taught at this university reaches 81. Among the 81 languages are the so-called 28 major languages, which the students of this university study as their major. So once you come to this campus, you will be hearing many languages, not only English. And we call it Global Campus Beyond English. And you can also meet with Japanese students who are studying your language, your history, and your culture. We also have a very long history, founded in 1873, and we will be celebrating our 150th anniversary this year. Before I go into the details of the programs, let me go over the expenses and the financial supports available. As a national university, our academic fees are relatively low compared with private universities in Japan. I also need to mention that the living expense in Tokyo is not cheap. However, we are located in the suburb of Tokyo, and the rent is relatively low compared with downtown Tokyo. And as I mentioned before, we are located in a very quiet and safe environment. Most of the students say that this is the best environment to concentrate on studying. At the same time, it's only about 30-40 minutes of a train ride from downtown Tokyo, so that you can also experience the excitement of living in Tokyo. Here I have shown an example of one of the students living in an apartment near the campus. This is relatively higher than the average, I guess, but the students we explain to the students to expect to use about 100,000 yen per month as a living expense. Some students have chosen to live in a share house to lower their rent, and that is also possible. And those information will be provided to the international students once they arrive in Japan. Many students also ask about working part-time. As the presentation by the Tokyo International University has also mentioned, students can also work part-time. In order to work part-time, they need the so-called working permission from the immigration office. With that permission, students can work up to 28 hours a week during the school term. When we talk about expenses, you are probably thinking of what kind of financial support is available from us. If you wish to secure a scholarship before coming to Japan, I have to say that the Japanese government scholarship, the so-called MEX scholarship, will be the option. As you may already know, there are one type of Japanese government scholarship that you can apply through the embassy. For the details of that, I need you to contact the Japanese embassy in your country. Please let me note that if you're going to apply for the Japanese government through embassy recommendation, you have to go through two routes to enter the degree program and to be granted with the scholarship. One procedure for the scholarship and another separate procedure to enter a degree program. However, the Japanese government scholarship has another type of scholarship. They call it priority programs. Once the program is designated as the International Priority Program under the Japanese government scholarship, there will be a preferential allocation of Japanese government scholarship to the students of that program. We are very proud to announce that two of the programs within this Tokyo University of Foreign Studies has been designated as this International Priority Program. One of them is the undergraduate program called School of Japan Studies, and another one is the Peace and Conflict Studies course, a master's program, which we will be talking in details today. Even if you were not eligible for the Japanese government scholarship, in Japan, there are many private foundations that offer scholarships to international students. For these scholarships, one can only apply for it once you are officially admitted to the university. Once you are officially admitted to our university, we will provide you with the necessary information or availability of the scholarships. Let me note that many of the foundations do require some Japanese proficiency, meaning that preparing the applications in Japanese and also taking the scholarship interviews in Japanese. And in many cases, they require high academic performance. Therefore, whether you are seeking to receive the Japanese government scholarship or the scholarship provided by private foundations, our recommendation is to keep your academic performance high. That is one of the advice that we can give you at the moment. As for the accommodation, I mentioned a little bit before about the expenses. We do have the international residence available for the international students. However, since the number is limited, we cannot guarantee a room at the moment, and there is a limitation on residence duration. However, once you are asked to leave the dormitory, we will provide you with the necessary support in order to find a private apartment near the campus. As there are many international students living in a private apartment nearby the campus, the housing agencies close by are quite used to arranging an apartment for the international students. And some of the agencies do have some English-speaking staff as well. As for the job opportunities, we do have the Global Career Center, which provides you with the information on job opportunities and counseling. There is a counselor who specializes in international students' job hunting to provide one-to-one counseling to those who in need. Now, let me go into two of the programs that we are going to explain in details. Both of them are offered all in English. First of them is the master's program called Peace and Conflict Studies course. It is a 2-year master's program, and the degree granted upon completion is Master of Arts in International Studies. We accept new students in October of each year. Some of the features of this program is that, as I mentioned before, all the classes are held in English. Students are to write their master's thesis in English as well. We provide unique opportunities to learn critical approaches to the global issues. We are relatively small in size, accepting 10 to 12 students per year, but the students come from diverse backgrounds. Professor Yonehara, which gave a very interesting lecture at the beginning of today's session, she mentions about many unknowns and many whys. We also feel the same way. This cross-cultural understanding and collaboration, going over many whys and many unknowns, will give you a very deep and very beneficial experience through the communication between the students of diverse backgrounds and also of our faculty. We also cover a variety of issues and approaches in regards to this peace and conflict studies field. Some of the course titles that we cover are PCS Research Methodology, Foundation of Human Violence and Group Conflict, Gender and Peace, Religion, Identity, and Nationalism, to name a few. Apart from the mandatory classes, the students will choose from these diverse choices of elective courses. We also have a very strong alumni network. I mentioned before that we are relatively small in size, about 10 to 12 students per year. But this allows us to form a very strong alumni network. And we conduct an alumni workshop every year to connect our current students and also the alumni. By doing so, when the current students wishes to conduct a field research at a certain country, there is a high chance that there is already an alumni there actively involved in the international cooperation activities. Maybe you are wondering what kind of research topic that you can study here. As many of our students do come from conflict-affected countries, many of them do choose a topic that is related to their own country, or issues regarding conflicts of neighboring countries. At the same time, there are some students who have chosen a topic that is specifically related to Japan, such as the US and Japan status of force agreement in the island of Okinawa, or the military law issue in Japan. You can actually find a complete list of our past master's thesis at our PCS website, which you can connect from the QR code here or through the link stated here. I will also type in to the chat box all the links that I have been mentioning in today's presentation. I mentioned before that this Peace and Conflict Studies course has been designated as the International Priority Graduate Program, and we do have the preferential allocation of the Japanese government scholarship to our students. Let me explain a bit about this scholarship. The number of grantees are 3 per year. The scholarship benefits includes monthly stipends, exemptions from the admission fee and tuition, and also the travel expense to and from Japan upon entering and graduating from Tufts will be covered. The duration of the scholarship is within the standard years of enrollment, meaning for this Peace and Conflict Studies course, it is 2 years. How we choose those students? The Tokyo University of Foreign Studies will recommend to the Ministry of Education 3 applicants with the outstanding admission results, who also have applied during the specified period, who also meet the eligibility for this Japanese government scholarship. What do I mean by the eligibility of the Japanese government scholarship? For this Peace and Conflict Studies course, you can apply for the Peace and Conflict Studies course and for this scholarship at the same time, but you need to meet those additional eligibility for the PGP-MEX scholarship. Some of those additional eligibilities include, number 1, holder of an excellent academic record. Ministry of Education has their own way of calculating the average grade point. It is different from GPA, and you have to have 2.30 or above within the 3.0 full mark. And you are requested to maintain the same high level during the duration of the scholarship. There is also an age limit for this scholarship. You must be born on or after April 2nd, 1988. You are also need to have a high English proficiency of CEFAR B2 level or above. If you have graduated from an English track undergraduate program, you are requested to submit a certificate issued by your institution that states that the program you have graduated has been offered all in English. You can check out the details of this scholarship within the admission information, which is available now through the QR code here or through the link stated here. As for the admission, I am very happy to inform you that we are currently accepting application for our 2023 program, which will be commencing in October of this year. Please note that those who wish to apply for this PCS course under this PGP-MEX scholarship, the deadline is early. The deadline is February 17th. For those who wish to apply for this PCS course under PGP-MEX scholarship. So if you're interested in applying for this program, download all the necessary information and check out the details. Up until now, I have been explaining mainly about this PGP Mix Scholarship. However, there's another financial support available only for this Peace and Conflict Studies course. Top 5 students entering this Peace and Conflict Studies course as a privately funded student will be granted with the admission fee exemption and also tuition exemption. So, our recommendation for you is to prepare your application very well. For this Peace and Conflict Studies course, as I mentioned before, we are currently accepting applications. If you wish to know more about this program, we are having our own online information session next week, next Tuesday, January 17th, 4 p.m. Japan time. The previous 2 information session has been over, but this January 17th session will be our last session before the deadline for the PGP MEX Scholarship. If you're interested, please check out the details and register now. You can receive the Zoom information on Monday. I will also type in the link for this information in the chat box later. Another program that I would like to share with you today is the doctoral program called Joint Doctoral Program for Sustainability Research. It is a 3-year doctoral program, and the language of instruction is English. It is jointly offered by 3 universities: Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, and University of Electrocommunication. As you can imagine from the titles of this university, it is the combination of humanities and sciences. You can actually gain the details of this program through the program website, through the link stated here. So what kind of research topic that you can study under this program? If you are interested more in the science-related fields, we recommend you to contact the 2 other universities. For those students who are enrolled in our university, are conducting researches on, let's say, international conflict, human rights, gender equality, and also energy conservation. For this program, we are accepting students twice a year, in both April and in October. Our next intake for this program will be for the October 2023. The application period will run from mid-April to early May, and we are expecting to announce the admission information in early March. So if you're interested in this program, you can also contact our Global Admissions Office or visit our website stated here. Another thing that I would like to mention, although we offer these English track programs, it is very beneficial for you to study Japanese before coming to Japan. We have recently launched a website called Nijiiro for international students who seek to study in Japan. On this website, you can find many courses on Japanese learning that you can learn while you are in your country. So please try to visit this website and check out the information regarding the Japanese lessons available for you before arriving in Japan. Lastly, let me just briefly go over what you can do now to prepare to study at this university. Well, first, check the admission information. I mentioned before that this Peace and Conflict Studies course is now accepting application. So download the necessary information, check your eligibility, and prepare your documents. If you are a non-native speaker of English, in most cases, whether it's this Peace and Conflict Studies course or other programs, official English test score will be necessary. So take the test and prepare for the official score. And as I mentioned before, start studying your Japanese through our Nijiro website. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us at our Global Admissions Office, gao@tufs.ac.jp. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, please let us know. I will try to go over the Q&A as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for such an enlightening presentation, for covering all the aspects of the admission process. I'm sure students are highly motivated to join the university. Usually we get many questions in the Q&A portal regarding where they can study about the Japanese language, culture and courses in this. So I'm sure the TUFS will has answered all those questions. So let's look into the Q&A portal. There is one question which says, does MEC scholarship also cover the entrance examination fees?
Unfortunately not. One needs to pay the application fee, and that applies to everyone.
Okay. So, and the next question is, are 12th class marks very important for the to get admission? I mean, to get a scholarship and admission in TUFS.
I'm sorry, which question are you looking at right now?
It's already answered by the panelists, so I think we can skip that question.
Oh, okay.
Are there any written examinations or interviews in the application process?
Yes, once you submit the documents, there is going to be an interview using probably Zoom. And for this PGP mix issue, it will be probably held in early March. So we will contact you from our university regarding the interview date and time.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And the next question is, can an undergraduate from an Indian university apply for undergraduate at Japanese university?
Can an undergraduate student from an Indian university apply for an undergraduate of a Japanese university? I do believe so. Today we just covered the graduate programs, but if you are willing to transfer to a Japanese university, that is also possible. And at this Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, we have a program called School of Japan Studies. And if you already have some Japanese proficiency, you may be able to transfer to this program. So please contact us at the Global Admissions Office for more details if you're interested in transferring to our university.
Okay, thank you, Professor. And let's take the last question. So should they apply for the admission in university first and then apply for the scholarship, or should they apply to the university? Should they apply for the scholarship and then apply for the university?
Okay, it depends on the type of the scholarship. If you're interested in apply for the Peace and Conflict Studies course that I mentioned today, you can apply for the scholarship and for the program at the same time. But if you're seeking for some other programs, in many cases, if you're interested in the Japanese government scholarship, you have to first apply for the Japanese government scholarship at the Japanese embassy, and then apply for the university official degree program in Japan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ishida, for joining us today and for giving us the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I will type into the chat box all the links necessary.
Yes, that will be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that was the presentation about the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Now let's move on to the last presentation of this webinar. We have almost reached the end of the webinar. So the last presentation is by Mr. Sasaki, a senior manager at the University of Tokyo, India office. He is here to provide us a presentation on studying in Japan and what an enriching experience it is. So over to you, Mr. Sasaki.
Yeah. Thank you for kind introduction. Hello, everyone. This is Kazunori Sasaki, Senior Manager of the University of Tokyo, India office. I share my screen. And this. Yes, we have an office in Delhi to coordinate not only the University of Tokyo, but also many other Japanese universities that are interested in recruiting students from India. So in a way, we are here doing like a showroom for Japanese universities. Due to corona restrictions, we had stopped accepting visitors for a long time, but this has been gradually lifted recently. So if you are interested, please drop by and take a look at our office. Also, we are now working with various universities in India to make it possible for students all over India to get information from their nearby Indian institutes with close ties to Japan without having to come all the way to Delhi. So now let's start my presentation. Yeah. When I have participated in the Japan Festival in Pune last November, an Indian young man who visited the venue said something shocking to me. He said, "I like One Piece and other Japanese animes, but what are the benefits of studying in Japan, especially for Indian people?" It was both shocking and a little disappointing to be told this by a young man who loved Japan and who was at the Japanese festival. But I think everyone attending this webinar probably feels the same way for some extent. So with the intention of answering this young man's question, I'd like to talk about the benefits of studying in Japan in response to 4 common misconceptions about studying in Japan. The title is "Studying in Japan Will Radically Enrich Your Life." Now, the first misconception that I will try to answer is Japan is not very connected to us Indians, connected to Indians. I'd like to talk about how Japan is related to your lives today. First of all, as you probably know, we Japanese are descendants of ninja. Therefore, we try to behave in such a way that our appearance and name are not visible as much as possible. So Japan is working with the Indian government on many projects that are directly related to your lives. But because they try to hide themselves at every site, not many people recognize about them. Of course, there are many visible Japanese products such as Suzuki and Toyota cars, Canon and Nikon cameras, Sony and Panasonic TVs, wristwatches, Seiko Citizen wristwatches, and animes, like that. But the majority of Japanese corporation is directed towards less visible areas, such as infrastructure development. For example, the metros running through major cities, such as one in Delhi, they were built with Japanese corporation. And there are so many other large-scale projects being carried out all over India. Look at this picture. It shows how many joint governmental projects are running in India. Even then, the Japanese government is not very keen to come out, so they usually get organizations such as JICA and JETRO to come out on their behalf. As you can see from this table, India is the biggest investment destination for Japan, and Japan is the biggest investment country for India. In other words, the relationship between India and Japan is much deeper than you might think. Now, high-speed rail projects are underway. And And this trend of governmental cooperation will become even stronger in the future. Moreover, the more infrastructure projects that are launched in the future to enrich your country, the stronger the relationship between India and Japan will become. In other words, people who can act as a conduit between India and Japan will be increasingly valued in the future. Moreover, there are still very few people who study in Japan, so it is a great rarity. And because it is difficult to become a person working as bridge to Japan, newcomers will have a hard time catching up. So once you become such bridging person, you will have no trouble making a living for the rest of your lives. Okay. Next, the second misconception is that Japanese people are weird. In other words, the national character of Japan is so unique that even if you go study abroad in Japan, you may not be able to fit in. Rabindranath Tagore, the first Asian Nobel Prize winner, described Japanese as horrors. I feel the contrast very strongly in Japan. In that country, the old world presents itself with some ideal of perfection in which man has his varied opportunities of self-liberation in art, in ceremonial, in religious faith, and in customs, expressing the poetry of social relationship with that deep delight of hospitality which life offers to life. It is true that from global perspective, the Japanese are a little peculiar. Firstly, they have a unique culture and a high level of education on average. Almost any Japanese person can read and write Japanese writings. And at the same time, if someone asks for directions in English, which is not normally used in their daily life at all, they can reply in English, even if it is only a few words, and show them the way. Think of it the other way around. If someone suddenly asks you for direction in Japanese, can you answer in Japanese? Maybe it is very mushkil na, very difficult. And also, various countries around the world trust us as trouble-free citizens. In recent years, the Japanese passport has been called the strongest passport because it allows you to enter more countries without a visa than any other country's passport. Furthermore, the Japanese were the first people in human history to start planting trees. In that sense, we are proud that we are the first citizen race in the world to promote the SDGs. And we also have a nationality to prefer collaboration to competition. For example, when I was a student at University of Tokyo, when exams were approaching, class members would divide up the work and make printouts to prepare for exams. For us, classmates were teammates, not rivals. Our only enemies are professors. The Japanese also have a tendency to make everyday tools and even weapons more elaborate than necessary, as if they were craft works. If these qualities could be summed up in one word, it would be meticulous. And this character is perhaps the opposite of the Indian people, who excel at doing things jugaad manner. That is why I think Indian and Japanese can be the best partner, compensating for each other's good point and each other's weak points. Even if you go to Japan, of course, you don't have to do things the same way as Japanese do. You just need to get to know what kind of people the Japanese are through first-hand experience. In Japanese Bushido, it is said that a samurai warrior is ready to die anytime for those who know him. Japanese people have a tendency to reward those who trust them with their sincere trust, no matter how far they go. If you study in Japan and get to know the Japanese well, they will surely become your most trusted partners. Okay? Next, let's look at the third misconception that you cannot study in Japan without studying Japanese. Okay, as it turns out, Japanese is not essential to get opportunity for studying in Japan. And this is from the ILO at the University of Tokyo. As you can see here, most universities in Japan offer free Japanese language courses at all levels. So it is definitely cheaper to study Japanese at the university after you have arrived in Japan. It means it is no need for you to study high-level Japanese before you go to Japan at high cost of money and time. The Japanese Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, that is MEXT, offers scholarship program which you can take an screening exam in English. If you pass this, you can study in Japan without having to learn any Japanese beforehand. In addition to this scholarship program, there are many other programs available at various universities that allow you to enter without using Japanese. So if you are interested, please check them out. Information about the MEXT scholarship will be available from next February, with application deadline at the end of May. We'll also be circulating information about the application process on this webinar, so please keep an eye out for it. By the way, please be careful about this. Students who are considering studying in Japan completely at their own expense, I mean self-funding students, may be required to take the EJU, an academic achievement test, depending on the university they are applying to. If Japanese is one of the designated subjects, you will need to have that level of Japanese language proficiency. The University of Tokyo also requires private-funded international students to take the EJU for selection. In addition, an increasing number of universities have been offering all English courses in recent years. The University of Tokyo also offers a program called PEAK for undergraduate students. In such all English courses, Japanese language studies is not mandatory. So if you haven't studied Japanese at all yet, find out if the university you want to go to offer an all English program like PEAK. And by the way, You can also learn proper English at an academic level at a Japanese university. So even if you understand English but are not that good at it, you can learn such high-level English with Japanese students. You will probably be able to speak English better than most Japanese students, so you will have an advantage in the grading system in the class. A fourth misconception is that studying in Japan is a waste of time. I think we have already answered this point by saying that as governmental cooperation between India and Japan should become stronger and stronger in the future, studying in Japan should be very meaningful, as it allows you to build special relationship with Japan and the Japanese people. In terms of personal connection, the alumni gathering will also be a great way to make connection with other people who have studied in Japan. The University of Tokyo has an alumni association called Akamonkai India. Mr. Narayan Murthy, the founder of Infosys, is the honorary president, and Mr. Sri Krishna Kulkarni, the chairperson of the executive board of IIM Calcutta, is the president of Akamonkai. Other than them, we have many prominent people who are very active in academic field as well as business field on our member list. So when you graduate from the University of Tokyo, you can join in the circle. It would certainly be beneficial if you could join a group of U-Tokyo alumni, but as U-Tokyo is also one of the top universities in Japan, and the number of applicants is small, it is difficult to gain admission. In that case, we are now thinking about creating a network of alumni associations, where people who went to any university can connect. If it is done, you don't have to go to a top school by yourself to get to know people who went to top schools. Then you can study at the university where you can learn what you want to learn. There are many different universities in Japan, each of which offers unique courses. Lastly, that is all for introducing and answering some of the common misconceptions we have for study in Japan. After relating these topics, what I want to say in short is I strongly recommend you for study in Japan. It is one of the best options for you. In this information-oriented world, there is probably not much difference in the knowledge you can learn at university, no matter where you study. If that is the case, if you are going to study abroad, wouldn't it be better to go to a place that has advantage that you can't get in any other country, but only those who have been there can get? India is now growing rapidly at a very high rate in economy, and the level of research is also rising. I think by the time you go to university and graduate from it, it will probably be a time when conditions are better for you to come back to India and get a job than for you to get a job in the country where you study. This is not limited to Japan. It is the same whether you go to the US, UK, Australia, or Germany, etc. And if you come back to India and get a job, your experience of studying in Japan will enrich your life more than if you went to any other country. Because, as I told you at the beginning, our countries are so closely related. We couldn't go into detail about the attraction of the University of Tokyo this time, but we will give you access to past webinars and YouTube programs introducing our university. So please take a look at those. Also, we have our own office in Delhi, so feel free to drop by. You can also have brochures of various universities in Japan there. Some people may be a little apprehensive because they still don't know much about Japan and don't have any relative there. If this is the case, please take advantage of an internship or other opportunity to come to Japan. You will surely find that you want to study in Japan. If you are a science student, you should also consider applying to IIT Hyderabad, which has a very close relationship with Japan. To find out how close the relationship is, to find out how close the relationship is between IIT Hyderabad and Japan, please come and watch the next webinar on 11th February, which will feature IIT Hyderabad. Okay. So Japan welcomes you and see you in Japan. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Sasaki, for such a delightful presentation. It was truly engaging and informative. Your examples help to clarify the information and make it more interesting. I'm sure students have enjoyed it. So let's proceed with the Q&A session. Is summer abroad better than a master's? So would you prefer a student pursue a summer internship or a master's program directly?
Yeah, I recommend. Saki-san, can you answer in detail?
So usually, if you are a little skeptical about considering a university in Japan, so like Sasaki-san has mentioned in his presentation, you can come here for internships and try out them and check if you can adjust to the environment here. So that is one option to consider. And let's proceed with the next question. So in what situations do students have to need the Japanese language?
I think, of course, they need Japanese language in everyday life. And what's the most important is, when you seeking job, the Japanese proficiency is very, very, important. So, yeah, you can, study in Japan without learn Japanese beforehand. But after you go to Japan, maybe you should study Japanese very keenly.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So can students drop by the office, University of Tokyo India office without appointments?
Actually, you can, but make appointment beforehand is preferable. Please make appointment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a question about University of Tokyo India offices. So does it have any other branches? Like, for example, students who are not in Delhi, how can they reach you? So are there any branches or education consultancies?
Actually, not now, not yet. We don't have any branches, not yet. But in the presentation, I refer to IIT Hyderabad. They are, very good Japan desk, and if you can go IIT Hyderabad, you can take a good information from them.
Yes. I would like to emphasize on this point as well. There is really a very strong relation between IIT Hyderabad and the University of Tokyo. Almost all of my friends, like in each and every department, you can find 2 to 3 students from IIT Hyderabad studying here.
Really?
So it's a very wonderful opportunity to come to Japan through that.
Yes.
And let's take up one last question. So how many students are offered mixed scholarship every year?
Actually, I think, it is very few, around 10, and I think, 10 plus alpha, 10 plus minus, 10 people, only 10 people for each category.
That's right, but even though it is the scholarships count, mixed scholarship, the number of students selected for scholarship is less. There are plenty of scholarships from other government and private organizations, so students can avail. So thank you, Mr. Sasaki, once again for giving a wonderful presentation. We can end the presentation now, and let me share the agenda slide. Can you please stop sharing?
Okay.
So we have reached the end of the webinar. It has been an interesting evening till now. Thank you for joining us. I thank all the panelists for giving their presentations and making it a success. We wholeheartedly appreciate your patience in staying with us till the end. So we hope today's webinar gave you an overview of the application process into various universities in Japan. So for more information, you can scan this QR code for the upcoming webinars and contact the University of Tokyo India office for any queries. So thank you again for attending today's session. We can end the webinar here.